everyone, welcome back, and this is our second lecture and hope you are all doing well. This is our second lecture, and in this lecture we are going to deal with locality factors. So, what is locality factor? For understanding that, let's get through an example. Let's take two regions, region A as well as region B. Let's say A gets 1500 mm of rainfall every year while B gets 100 mm of rainfall every year, right? And the temperature at A is 23 degrees Celsius while the temperature at B is 40 degrees Celsius. And A have nutrient rich soil whereas B is poor in nutrients. So, what do you think? Whether the plants on A will be same of the plants in B. Will that be the same plants? Obviously no. So, what made the plants to be different? Because when these factors, when the climatic, edaphic, topographic and biotic factors varies from one place to another, the vegetation present there also varies, right? So, now what is locality factors then? Which means the effective climatic, edaphic, topographic and biotic factors which influence the vegetation of that area is called as locality factors. For simple words, these are locality factors. The climatic, edaphic, topographic and biotic factors prevailing in an area which determines which type of vegetation is present in that area is known as locality factors. Alright. So, we will be seeing one by one. First is climatic. Climatic factors include light, temperature, moisture and wind. Alright. So, let's see one by one. So, first one is light. Why light is important? Because it helps in the chlorophyll formation, stomatal functioning, photosynthesis, growth, form, species stratification, which means the light influences the functioning of the plants, right? For example, the amount of photosynthesis takes place varies when the light conditions varies, which means when the amount of light received increases, the photosynthesis increases and then decreases. Up to this point, the amount of photosynthesis increases when the amount of light received increases, right? And it also helps in the growth of the plant, which means we all know that a plant requires particular amount of light in order to induce flowering, and this is known as photoperiodism, right? This is how the light influences the functioning of the plants. Alright. So, next is how the vegetation varies when the amount of light received varies. For that, let's look in this picture. So, this is a desert region and this is a temperate region, right? Temperate region. So, in this picture, this tree's height is this much, right? While the height of this tree is this much, which means when the amount of light received is decreases, the height of the tree increases. In order to meet out the light demand, the height of the tree increases, whereas here the amount of light received is plenty, it reduces the height, right? So here this tree spread its crown, right? So it is to reduce the leaves that exposed to sunlight, which means these upper portion leaves alone is exposed to the sunlight while the lower leaves are not exposed to the sunlight, right? Here the crown is in conical shape, right? And we know, or we can see that all the branches are directly exposed to light, right? So these are some of the modifications that a plant shows when the amount of light varies, as well as the vegetation show variation in the leaf shape and thickness of the leaf. Alright. Next is temperature. Temperature is an important factor in photosynthesis, respiration, transpiration and germination. So in photosynthesis and respiration of plants, the temperature plays the role of a catalyst, which means as the temperature increases, the photosynthetic and respiration rate increases up to a point, and this point where the photosynthesis and respiration is maximum is known as optimum temperature. Optimum temperature. Beyond this limit, the photosynthetic and respiration rate decreases. Alright, photosynthetic or respiration rate, and this is temperature, right? While in transpiration also, it increases up to a limit. The transpiration rate increases up to a limit. After that, it becomes stable, right? Transpiration rate and temperature. So this is how the temperature also affects the functioning of the plants. And now, how the plants show variation in their adaptation when the amount of temperature varies. So how the plants adapt to varying temperature, it differs from species to species, it differs. And for example, let's look at the desert plant. It do not have leaves, right? Or it have very less number of leaves. The leaves are modified into thorns, right? The stems perform photosynthesis, all right? And it have a root system. Sometimes it is a shallow root system. The shallow root system allows the plants to absorb large amount of water when it rains, right? Or sometimes it have deep root system. Deep root system means sometimes the roots can go up to 80 feet deep, right? This is to collect water from where it is available, all right? These are the modifications. The plants which have these modifications can survive in the high temperature regions, while the plants do not show this kind of modification cannot survive in high temperature regions. So the vegetation can vary from the high temperature region to low temperature regions, right? Wind. Why wind is important? Because wind is a pollinating agent, which means the wind transfers pollen grains from one place to another, as well as the wind helps in the seed dispersal, that is transportation of seed from one place to another by the wind, right? It helps in the seed dispersal. And heat exchange. Heat exchange means the wind removes the warm air and brings the cold air, right? So it also have negative impacts like bending and breakage of the tree, uprooting of the tree, spread forest fire and increase its intensity. When the amount of wind is very high, or when the amount of wind varies, the plants also show some kind of modifications. When the intensity of the wind is very high, the plants do not tend to grow for higher heights. It remains in the smaller height, right? So this is an adaptation. Also, the leaves will be in such a way that it allows the easy movement of air through the crown, right? So these are some of the modifications shown by the plants when the amount of wind varies. So the kind of vegetation also varies from one place to another, right? Next is moisture. We all know that the amount of moisture available in the soil performs a major role in the growth of the plants, right? We all know that for growing a plant we should water it daily, right? So moisture is very important. Moisture means it can be the amount of water that received from any sources like rain, snow, frost, anything. So but the, it is the available amount of water. Moisture is the available amount of water. And we know that without water the plants will not grow, because the plants absorb the nutrients from the soil through the water, which means the water act as a solvent. The nutrients are dissolved in the water, and this water is absorbed by the roots, and which in turn helps the growth of the plants. And also water is a raw material for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the way through which the plant synthesizes food, as well as it increases its biomass, right? So these are the major roles played by moisture. There are so many other roles, and this is some of the major roles played by the moisture. Amount of moisture available varies. The type of vegetation present also varies. Let's say an area with 2000 mm of rainfall and area with 100 or 200 mm of rainfall. When the amount of moisture available is very low, the plants tend to withhold its moisture content, and it shows its own adaptation in order to withhold the moisture, while the area with high amount of rainfall do not show these kind of adaptations, which in turn makes the vegetation different, right? And this is all about the climatic factors, and in the next part we will see what is the edaphic, topographic and biotic factors that influences the vegetation of that area.